The opinions of this podcast are solely those of the creators and do not reflect the opinions of the filmmakers involved. If you are of legal drinking age, feel free to have a drink with us, but please do drink responsibly. You're listening to Cole-astic Cinema.
They're heading for the canyon. They're going back to the Citadel.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
With your hosts, Fabian Salazar,
Rachel!
and Cole Butterfield,
Comic books.
where we talk about movies.
Most of the time.
Like, woo! Do the whistle world! Let's go, Joker! Like, hey, let's play your greatest hits! So come along for a ride and have fun. Mike Dinner, back in the studio again.
I'm back!
Back in the studio again. Oh, welcome to Cole-astic Cinema.
What
We're
is
back
up?
in the studio.
Fuckers! What up?
Cole is finally back from troll hunting in Reykjavik, and I am so excited. How was that, by the way?
Dude, you know what a bitch it is to try to have troll pelts, for carry on. They insist, no, I'm not leaving that to just have me fucked around by the airports and me hopefully to get it back by the time I land. It's a fucking nightmare, but it was successful. I'm really proud of how it all turned out. I mean, we lost a few good men, but if I'm being honest, most of them were former convicts. So,
Well, you got to lose a couple.
I mean, it just really strengthened the bonds for the rest of us that survived. I think I came back a better person, if I'm being honest. I mean, when
good.
you have to kill one of your newfound friends after a weeks-long journey troll hunting, and just to watch the light leave their eyes as they realize that you have no choice but to do this, otherwise they will become the thing you've been hunting. It just gets you so hard.
Oh. Well, cool. I appreciate you getting my UV light back to me. And yeah, we are going to be watching, as you see, the DC Universe animated original movie, Batman, The Dark Knight Returns, Part 1 and 2.
Ooh, no cliffhangers this time.
Yeah, we're going to be watching the whole thing because, honestly, if we didn't, I would be really mad and anxious to watch the next part. So we're just going to do it all in one sitting.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. So,
Lordy.
let's get into it. So, this movie was directed by Jay Olivia. It stars Peter Weller, Ariel Winter, David Shelby, and Wade Williams. This movie was, let's see. There's a lot of writers on this one because this one came from a comic book.
And has a bunch of other comic book characters involved, so they have to give other comic book character writers and creators also included in that. So it's like 15 people, supposedly. There's only like 3 people who actually wrote this.
Yeah. And they give Bob Kane, creator of Batman, credit.
But not Bill Finger. This is back during the time when they were arguing about, because yes, Bob Kane and Bill Finger created Batman, but for the longest time it was just Bob Kane.
Oh, okay.
Completely screwed out Bill Finger. That's why in Batman 89...
Like a Stan Lee, Jack Kirby
yeah,
situation.
took him a while, but if we're being honest, Jack Kirby, it's the fucking man.
Yeah.
He created so much cool shit.
So big credit on this one, writing wise, is Frank Miller.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Klaus Janson, Bob Goodman, Bill Finger. Ooh, okay, so he does have it. Yeah, he does have a creator.
Okay, but he's not up there like when the first couple ones you look up on IMDb stuff. You have to actually have to go and look. Bill, that's why in Batman 89 the sidekick for the Joker is called Bob, and there's no Bill.
Oh. And then an uncredited comic book writing credit goes to Lynn Varley.
There we go.
Let's see. So, Cole, when did the comic book come out?
Oh, it came out in 1986.
Okay, I was going to say, because there's a lot of Soviet drama in this one.
Yes, well, this is done during the time, right around the switch from the Gold and Silver Age of comic books to what would become the Heroic Age, the Iron Age, the Modern Age of comic books, which came out in the 80s. And this is during the British invasion of comics. It happens in music, happened in comic books just 20 years later.
True, yeah.
This is when you have, Alan Moore and all these motherfuckers coming over, and, somebody who's in the press right now for, I don't know why, but Neil Gaiman kind of came and shook some things up, mostly at DC. It was mostly through DC. Marvel, it's actually a fun little bit in the Boys comic book by Garth Ennis, who is, Irish, wanted to work over at Marvel, and one of the main little comic book guy who's kind of just pretty much supposed to be like Stan Lee, is like no fucking English, and just kicks them out because it's when a whole bunch of them came over to revamp the comic book industry and kind of breathe like a new life into it, because this is coming out of the incredibly campy, silly times of like the 60s and 70s, where they just try to just do like this way. You have 1960s Batman, and they're trying to think of a way of like growing up comic books a little bit. It's the 80s. All right. You've got like action movies like Terminator and RoboCop and all this shit coming out. Like, this is what people want. And you can't just be going like the whole slapstick, like, oh, what if Batman has a rainbow costume?
Yeah. The super campy. Yeah, it's getting a little bit stale.
Yeah. So if you got to serious it up a little bit, who do you bring in? You bring in the British, because they are dry and stale. But Frank Miller is not British, but he happens to be around at this time, and he incorporated a lot of the same writing tools that you find mostly in manga, and then also like, you know, American and British comic books, and combines them both, and that's where you get something like the Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, and then Frank Miller also did Sin City, right?
Yeah, and he also did Batman Year One, which is really good.
That's good one,
300 as well.
Fucking 300
Ronin,
is so good.
Well, yeah, no, he's done some really cool, awesome shit. But this is also during
Zack Snyder's just losing his goddamn mind right now.
Oh,
Because we all know Zack Snyder listens to us.
oh yeah, so he does. I mean, he does all these at half speed, which is insane. But if you got a stick to it.
Going along with that British invasion thing, or a theme, you know, you also got the music side with the Brits coming over like, oh, dude, we want to work with all these awesome, great musicians that America has. And they're showing us like, oh, well, here's our country, here's our pop and rock stars. Like, no, the blues guys.
Yeah.
Like, that's how you get like bands like the Rolling Stones and the Beatles and the Monkees, and there's like, let's fucking go blues. Like, this is where the music should be. It's
It's a way of hiding certain like American like cultural and arts, and like infusing them with like almost like an homage, and then like a tweaking while having the British involved with the British invasion. Same with the comic books. So this is why this one's so seminal, even though it is a little divisive now, all this time later. Seminal. Because this establishes like literally the Dark Knight, like the dark, brooding Batman. Like, we only kind of had him when he first came out back in the 30s. Like, I think like the first comic book issue, like the end panel is him hanging a guy from a Batcopter.
Yeah.
Back when they also used guns and shit. So this is a way of taking...
If I kill, I'd be just as bad as the criminals I put away. Go ahead, take him away, Gordon.
I don't kill them. I just make them wish they were dead.
They'll wish they're dead by the amount of hospital bills they have to pay.
Their kids will have to go to a life of crime to pay for all the hospital bills.
It keeps saying, dude, that's his future employment.
Exactly. He's just keeping the thing going.
He's keeping it going for his kids.
Yeah.
See, he's running a business, Batman. Anyway.
Yeah, a lot of like Soviet propaganda and stuff like that. But this sets like what becomes like kind of the baseline for Batman for the longest time, of like being dark, brooding, like pretty much without like the Dark Knight Returns, we wouldn't have like kind of the Batman we have today. A lot of the like, especially like the knockout, drag out fight with like Superman and stuff, like those has happened before, but like not to this extent.
Yeah, and I think we can all appreciate the dark, brooding Batman that we have now.
I mean, the camp is
he's more he's more complicated. He's a complex character, and he's more captivating. He's interesting versus Superman, who's just a hero.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of get Lois Lane and his kids and his storyline.
Well,
but
so
Batman's just so much more interesting of a character to dive into. Every aspect, like him, not just him, but like his entire Bat family and their dynamic is so much more fun to read, and it's more captivating, in my opinion.
I agree, because in this one we've kind of got a Batman who, it's the difference between Batman and Superman is Batman is like a pinnacle of humanity, but in a way he's trying to separate himself from humanity to become a symbol, not a person. Whereas Superman, what makes him interesting is when you try to find those human moments and something that is not objectively not human, but also is himself like a living symbol, but trying to find some humility behind it. So that's where you have to find these more interesting things, where it does come out in this one, to where Superman is a symbol in this one, especially like a very like staunch, almost kind of like Reaganomics type superhero.
Again, it's a product of the time.
Very much a product of its time.
Super truth, justice in the American way at the time.
Yeah. With like the Soviet, all the Soviet scare going on. You've got Reaganomics and Ronald Reagan in charge of stuff. Frank Miller early on in his career for the longest time was a raging alcoholic because that was the only way for him to release his creativity without being bogged down by everything else.
That tracks especially with Sin City.
Yeah, it's just the dude was just like hammered and just like pouring ideas out. Like since then he's like I think he's been sober now for like 20 years now, but yeah, it's just, which definitely does come out when you read the original. This is going to be a slight deviation from the source material because there's certain things they kind of had to update, and then certain like, we can't be showing kids this kind of stuff. Like the amount of like cigar smoking that Gordon used to do back in the day, which I think they've mostly just completely gotten rid of him smoking at all.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, which I mean, I'm fine with. That was like one of the early things over at Marvel back when Joe Quesada took it over. Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Never get rid of it, and Gordon's just pulling jewels and vapes and shit. Batman.
Just hold on, Batman. Cotton candy.
Batman's still 100 deadpan. Just.
But removing like that kind of not censoring, but removing like tobacco use and stuff like that, especially with like popular heroes like Wolverine for the longest time was always shown a cigar in his mouth.
Dude, I love cigar chomping Wolverine. It's the fucking best.
It's fun. It's fine, but I wouldn't say it's his defining characteristic, which some people tried to do. When Joe Quesada took over, he lost his father to lung cancer. So he's like, no more. Get rid of it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because it's also like in another random ass connection, Mrs. Doubtfire during the opening scene, he's like, what we should have some sort of disclaimer. Like this is like sending a pack of cigarettes to kids and saying, light up, because this is a cartoon character, something like related to you. It's like, oh, hey, this is cool. This is fine. This is fun. So they try to do that kind of like censorship or just like updating it in a way to where, because when I was a kid, smoking looked cool, and part of me does think
I still think it looks badass.
Kind of looks badass, but it's also incredibly terrible for you.
Yeah.
So
we in no way condone smoking.
Oh no, absolutely
But if you're
not.
a smoker, fuck it. No,
if you're a smoker, man, I love fucking no. But
I still just, I mean, yeah, maybe that's the deep seated thing in me is like, I still think just having a cigar, like after you did like explosions, shooting the guns, pop a cigar. But again, like I grew up watching Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. So
when you just got that big old chompy thing, so in a way, it's kind of like shown to you like it's cool, it is okay, and then now
fucking badass.
Which I think is why they're now not showing like so many people like some vaping is kind of a thing here and there in some properties right now, but like because vaping is look, I admit I vape certain products I will vape and indulge in when it comes to engaging those, but it's there. There's no way you can make that look cool.
No,
you got this giant robotic dildo lighting up with the flavors that smell like it came out of a fucking Axe body spray can as you just and get popcorn lung and shit, like even a lot fucking faster. You can just pull on it. The cool thing about smoking is you have to go outside to do it, and then you have to test your commitment when it's really cold. Like, do I really want to do this?
Yeah.
This is how I knew that smoking was cool when I was a kid. It's because people would stand outside just in like -5-degree weather in Utah, just.
I'm so badass right now.
I'm so cool.
All right, but we are not here to talk about smoking. We are here to talk about The Dark Knight Returns. Okay, so
the tangent.
There's not a there obviously it's an animated film, so there's no filming locations. But it was made in a $3.5 million budget.
Well, it was also back in 2012.
Yeah, not bad.
Still, though. I mean, this is also when
this came out about the same time as the Avengers. So
this also came out the same year that Dark Knight Rises came out.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's arguably they're kind of the same, like in the same idea that, Dark Knight Returns. But, I mean, they're wildly different concepts on stories on the concept.
Oh, yeah. This is also an Elseworld story. This isn't like a canon at all.
No, it's always kind of one of my things that irks me a little bit when things strive too far away from the status quo and are like, hey, we're going to push some boundaries. And then people get pissed off. It's
not canon.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And it's like, it kind of, it dampens the impact in my opinion. It's like nothing really matters. It was like I said, I just finished watching all 15 seasons of Supernatural, and and yeah, it was like after the first 5 seasons, you're kind of like, oh well, oh, Dean's dead again. We'll see how long it takes whomever to bring him back.
Yeah.
He's like, he'll be back next episode versus half an hour later or whatever. And one of the biggest laughs I got watching was like, fucking, so like season whatever 11 or 12 or something starts with Dean being like, it ends with Dean being possessed by the Archangel Michael.
Yeah.
And then the beginning, we started the next season, and I was like, watch, give him 2 episodes and he'll be gone. And he was.
Yeah.
Because it all is trying to get that cliffhanger. But yeah, in take that how you will, but it's all that same, it dampens the impact of what you're doing if you're just going to retcon it immediately.
I mean, see, I agree and disagree in a little way. What I like about this is because Frank Miller also did, Batman Year One. This is also kind of, which does, I think it does set a lot of like how more modern interpretations of Batman are done. And I think that's where it is kind of cool to have it as its own separate universe, as a way of kind of just picking and choosing out of what works out of all these various things and then throwing them in. And then this one, I mean, I don't know if it's confirmed, but maybe it's just my head canon, but this is pretty much the ending story for Batman Year One. The sequels to this do not count. They do not matter. I hate those sequels.
No, it should end where it ends.
It just needs Batman. Dark Knight Returns is all we need. Not only need the Dark Knight Strikes and Dark Knight Strikes Again. Those ones are terrible. Like, first of all, Frank Miller does the artwork for the sequels, and he is not an artist.
No, he's not.
It is some crappy goddamn art. And then he just, I don't know, it's like Frank Miller and so many of those early artists.
That brings me back of me learning how to do more comic book style. I'm kind of like, when I see some of Frank Miller's work, I'm like, I'm not doing too bad.
No, it's like, I see that and like, I just stick to writing the stories.
Yeah.
But like, but even then, this is also during that time where he had like, oh God, that cringe ass fucking, like so many panels of Superman and Wonder Woman, like having sex up in space and then crashing down as they orgasm and causing like a whole bunch of like death
I
and
also know how
destruction.
to write metaphors.
Yeah, it's just so fucking.
Dude, like, so that being said, like, I do love Otherworld stories.
Yeah.
Because it's, in a sense, it's having your cake and eating it too. You have your status quo, but what if Batman killed the Joker and became the Batman Who Laughs? Like, I fucking love the Batman Who Laughs. I think that's such a crazy cool new villain. But
Not anymore.
they
Oh my
do,
God, not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore by any means. But like when it first started, like I was fucking sold, dude.
Yeah.
Like that is really cool. That's a really fun take. But yeah, you got to have your it's an Elseworld, and even like the events that take place, them fighting are still like
they still end up getting
debatably-
like retconned and like,
yeah.
shaken up and things like that. And or like what's another problem with these Elseworld stories now is like with the Batman Who Laughs, like, okay, this works, it's popular, grind it into the fucking ground.
That's all of media, though.
Yeah, which I mean that is the way it is now. Whereas like with this, back in these days with these Elseworld stories, like with Year One and the Dark Knight Returns, people are taking elements from this and then incorporating it to where it's not an exact ripoff. Like any like Batman versus Superman fight you have now is based off of this. They fought before, like in their own like little Elseworld stories or like weird little like 60s, 70s campy, like confusion things. Like it actually wasn't Superman at all, but Lex Luthor and Superman disguise and stuff like that.
Oh, penguin gas.
Those dastardly fiends. Whereas like this, even though it's a pretty kind of sketchy story, a lot of like early 80s kind of stuff and showing off Frank Miller's insanity.
I also do like that. Yeah, this does have a Batman versus Superman aspect, or like it's a big point in the end. But also, it's not just like, oh, Batman has kryptonite, Batman versus Superman equals win. Mm-hmm. No, like Superman's weak from the nuke, it blocked out the sun, so obviously his powers are going to be weak, and Batman can actually stand up to him. Even then, like, it's still fucking Superman.
Yeah, and Batman's 55.
Yeah, and I do love that. It's
20
like
plus years of
Batman
crime
coming back and proving to himself and the world that he is still just as brutal and just as defiant as ever.
Yeah.
And it's just so good. I fucking love this story. I'm excited to watch this
I'm
movie.
excited to watch. It's been a while since I've seen it. I'm excited to get to it. So I'm trying not to go off too much because I feel like we could just start talking about it and not even have to watch the fucking movie.
Yeah, fucking hell. Ugh. All right, so I think that's going to bring us to our next part. We are going to be doing a script reading, and obviously we're going to be doing a Batman script reading. We're going to be doing the scene from Dark Knight.
Just Dark Knight.
Just Dark Knight.
Not returning, not rising,
Nope.
Not
just
striking.
Just the Dark Knight.
not striking again, not striking back. Not
Batman 2, The Batman Strikes Back.
Batman 2, The Batman Strikes Back.
Gotham 2, The Batman. There he is.
Batman 2, A New Batch. Batman 2, Electric Boogaloo.
So yeah, we're gonna be reading. Not the. I mean, yeah, we're just gonna read it.
It's going to be a script reading. I know it's been a while for us, but come on, guys. It hasn't been that long for you.
It's been a fucking eternity.
It's been so fucking long. It takes so long to fucking hunt trolls. You guys have no idea. It looks so simple and campy in all those B movies. It's not.
No.
It's real.
No.
It's dangerous. And it's hot.
It gets me hard.
Just
all right.
Walking 6 feet uphill in the snow with a boner and a troll carcass being dragged behind me.
Okay, let's move this over. Still haven't gotten the weight to. Oh my god.
Ooh. Driver updates.
Fucking driver updates. I don't need that shit. Okay.
Oh yeah. Do we decide if we're gonna try to play this serious or we're gonna?
I don't know if we have. This would be a fun bit to get some engagement. Let us know what scripts you want us to read and in what style you would like us to read them in.
Yeah, like should we like try to take this seriously, attempt to act, quote unquote, or just be the shitheads like we often
Yeah,
are?
mostly. I don't know. Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, let me know because I don't know what to do. I can't make up my mind. There's too many choices.
All right, let's see. I guess you start this one. Interior, interrogation, MCU, Gotham Central, night.
MCU.
the MCU. Iron Man walks in with a big ass money boner.
Iron Man. Oh, I don't have a Robert Downey Jr. That'd been perfect. Evening.
Okay. The Joker in Near Darkness. Gordon walks in, sits.
Good evening, Commissioner. No, I don't like that at all. Anyway, keep going. I'll figure it out.
Harvey Dent never made it home.
Of course not.
What have you done with him?
Me? I was right here. Would you leave him with your people? Assuming, of course, they're still your people and not Maroney's. Does it depress you, Lieutenant? Well, why does he say Lieutenant? Just introduce him as Commissioner. Oh, well, didn't realize that before. To know how truly alone you are. Nope, just falling right back to it. Fuck it. Does it make you feel responsible for Harvey Dent's current predicament?
Where is he?
What time is it?
What difference does that make?
Well, depending on the time, he might be in one spot or several.
You know, if we're going to play games, I'm going to need more coffee.
The old good cop, bad cop routine, eh?
Not exactly.
Never start with the head. Victim gets fuzzy. You can't feel the little. See?
You wanted me. Here I am.
I wanted to see what you do, and you didn't disappoint. You let 5 people die. Then you let Dent take your place, and even a guy like me, you better say it's cold.
Yeah, where is Dent?
Oh, Kermie, those mop fools. I can't do that. Fuck, I just can't disparage Heath Ledger like that. Can't do it. Those mob fools, you... Oh, God, I can't fucking read that far away. I need my glasses. Those mob fools you want gone so they can get back to the way things were. But I know the truth. There's no going back. You've changed things forever.
No, then why do you want to kill me?
Kill you? I don't want to kill you. What would I do without you? Go back to ripping off mob dealers? Mob dealers? Mobsters? No, you complete me.
You're garbage. No, you killed Rami. Yeah.
No. Don't talk like one of them. You're not, even though you'd like to be. To them, you're a freak. Like me. They just need you right now. But as soon as they don't, they'll cast you out. Like a leper. Their morals, their code, it's a bad joke. Dropped at the first sign of trouble. They're only as good as the world allows them to be. You'll see. I'll show you. When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other. See, I'm not a monster. I'm just ahead of the curve.
He's in control. Where's Dent?
You have these rules, and you think they'll save you.
I have one rule.
Then that's the one you'll have to break to know the truth.
Which is?
The only sensible way to live in this world is without rules. Tonight you're going to break your one rule.
I'm considering it.
There are just minutes left, so you'll have to play my little game if you want to save one of them. For a while, I really thought you were Dent. The way you threw yourself after her. Crash, boom, bang. Look at you go. Does Harvey know about you and his little bunny?
Where are they?
Killing is making a choice.
Where are they?
You choose one life over the other. Your friend, the district attorney, or his blushing bride-to-be. You have nothing to threaten you with. Nothing to do with all your strength. But don't worry. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you where they are. Both of them. And that's the point. You'll have to choose. See, he's at 252nd Boulevard, and she's on Avenue X and Cicero.
Which one are you going? Rachel!
Rachel!
No!
Oh no, why are you going for me? Not for me, Rachel!
Rachel! All right, that's
So fucking dumb.
all right. That's gonna do it for us here. We're gonna go watch the movie.
I got sweaty.
Come back, talk about it a little bit, and then go watch the second part.
God damn.
It's an operating table. And I'm the surgeon.
Yes. All right. That was The Dark Knight Returns Part 1.
Part 1.
Very good.
Yeah,
man.
no, it definitely reminds me of. Oh, yeah, it's definitely a throwback. Although I think this might be, I don't know, might be a slightly better version than the comic book because it's not bogged down with as much. But
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it has anything that's slowing the story down.
yeah, one of with the classic Frank Miller bits of just gonna go off on doing this stuff for a minute. And
I don't know. I don't know. Robin's kind of hit or miss for me in this one, which she ends up doing a lot more good, and towards the end of it is actually like, oh, okay, Robin, and then it's, especially in part 2, she plays a very big role.
Which is what sucks for the follow-ups to The Dark Knight Strikes Again, where they pretty much just throw all that out the window and make her an overly sexualized character and shit. It's incredibly fucking frustrating.
Fucking wasted.
Yeah, because she's really cool. She's a precursor to Tim Drake in this, which is
Oh, damn.
yeah, so pretty much because Tim Drake, similarity between this and the main DC universe at the time is Tim Drake is dead. Batman becomes a lot more violent. That's when Tim Drake's figures out first of all that the 13-year-old kid figures out that
Jason
Bruce Wayne
Todd.
Oh yeah, no,
Jason Todd's dead.
yeah, but Tim
You
Drake's
said Tim Drake is dead, and then comes
no.
yeah.
Shit, fuck.
No, I know. It took me a second to
Well,
realize.
it's because one of my first notes was that you don't mention Jason Todd to Bruce Wayne.
No, that's one of his biggest failures.
Yeah, and just it's awesome to see that, especially since he's alive now.
Those of you who don't know, Jason Todd was beaten to death with a crowbar by the Joker.
Yeah, which we get several nods to that with Mutant Leader using
the
a crowbar
crowbar
at first, and just everyone talking about Jason Todd, which I believe is a reason why he not the main reason, but a factor into why he retired. 10
Okay,
years
that
ago.
was one of my notes. Is I don't know why he retired in this.
So that's covered up a bit more in part 2, but a lot of it just has to deal with one, the losing of Jason Todd, him becoming more extreme, and just the overall view of superheroes in general. That's just why a lot of them just retire and they leave it all up to Superman, because Superman's now just an agent.
Superman.
And he's an agent of the government, which we'll see in starting part 2. So kind of why he retired is
Even with government regulation, what are they going to do if Superman steps out of line?
nothing, which is why they kind of just appealed to his whole, truth, justice, and the American way. Good old Kansas boy
Yeah.
coming on down. Smallville, come on, Smallville. So pretty much just, and like the public sentiment turning against superheroes, which you see a lot throughout this first part where they're talking about the impact that Batman has. That's a big reason why he kind of just ended up retiring, but still never gave up his, thrill-seeking near-death experiences.
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
where we
And
start off with
that
the
brings
racing
me,
scene.
That brings me to my first note. Yeah.
Segways, motherfuckers.
Yeah, the opening scene is like the only thing that can actually get his, as he said, his blood flowing. Just gets the blood pumping, doing F1 races and
With an
shit.
experimental car that he ends up hijacking after being told by the technicians to not, like he's pushing it too hard. He's like, yeah, fuck that. I'm RoboCop. I'm Batman.
Shout out Peter Weller.
Shout out Peter Weller, who also Frank Miller helped write RoboCop too.
I didn't know that.
I mean, the
Right
second
on.
one, not as well.
Yeah. My second note is just everything they did with the Joker in part 1 and 2. Like his whole like he's catatonic and is unresponsive.
It has been for 10 years, ever since Batman disappeared.
Because without Batman, he has no purpose.
Yeah,
he
there's-
has no reason to do anything.
I was going to go back to ripping off mobsters?
Yeah.
No.
It's true. It's like, you complete me.
Complete me.
Yeah.
I have a feeling you and I are destined to do this forever.
Yeah. And it's fun. And the only thing that perks him up is hearing the news in the background. People talk about Batman.
Batman. It's like, he's coming back. And that's when he finally is like, which it's kind of hard to believe that he can just speak as well as he has after being catatonic for 10 years. We're like, sweetheart.
Batman. Sweetheart.
Sweetheart, Batman.
Yeah. The whole like conversation Robin has with her friend, like walking through the arcade, it was like, oh, we shouldn't be walking through here. Mutants hang out in here, and she's like, oh, better in here than out there. It's like, but you're in here.
But you're in here.
In here where the mutants hang. I don't know. That was just really dumb to me.
Well, it's definitely one of those more stupid kind of like, just stupid kid things. Like, oh, well, we better just hang out at this clearly like abandoned or like after hours arcade, which those aren't a thing anymore, really. So
Yeah.
but
Well, the story is set in the 80s.
yeah, it is. It's very much set in the 80s. That's why Gordon could get away with referencing World War II.
Yeah, and I have a bit about that later. But
Yeah.
what do you got on your notes so far?
I mean, fuck, we can get past some extra trivia shit. Yeah, just never bringing up Jason Todd, the natural thrill seeking, and then just kind of how a lot of this makes sense and does tie into year one as a way like the character would kind of start to end with,
Yeah.
like Gordon knowing who he is by that point and him kind of just, actually drinking, like, not Gordon, but Bruce Wayne actually starting to drink a little bit just because a lot of it has to deal with like, this is like a huge psychological piece, which is why the therapist is also so prominent. I think this does a good job of at least kind of highlighting and touching on like the PTSD that pretty much all of Gotham, if not particularly like their main cast of characters, have when it comes to just the entire Batman saga up until this point.
Yeah, and I do love that like Harvey Dent's entire story arc in this is really fun.
Oh yeah,
He's so psychologically broken that he can't accept that his face is back to normal.
Yeah, no, he's like, no, because that's also deals with the duality that has always been Harvey Dent and Two-Face is like two sides of the same coin, still the same coin, still the same person. Mm-hmm. So to be made whole, quote unquote, he wouldn't be able to handle it. And then, but in his head, having his normal face would have to be taken over by just bad face. Like that's why it has a flash of him, like everyone's making fun of me. Yeah, I have scary face. Everyone's making fun of me because now I'm pure scary face. Which I find heartbreaking because Harvey Dent is kind of a heartbreaking character, especially if you tie this into like year one, which Frank Miller also wrote, which has like part of the origin story for Harvey Dent and things like that. That he's kind of almost a sad character who started off with like all this shit going for him, but even his own personal demons end up getting the best of him, which is a common thing with a lot of Batman villains and even Batman himself. That's one of my notes is Batman referring to Jason Todd as a soldier. He's not family. He's not a son. This is a Batman who...
It's a war against crime in Gotham.
It's a war. Yeah, exactly. Which is actually something that was kind of recently, because this is such an influential thing, something that was touched on recently in Chip Zdarsky's current run on Batman. So pretty much... comic books.
I mean, that's probably this entire episode.
I mean, yeah, but so in Chip Zdarsky's run, they capture on a lot of like old Batman stuff, like the Batman as R&R and all that. But Batman, like in his early career, gets like kind of psychologically attacked, so he creates a mental backup of just like pure Batman, and that pure Batman is the kind you kind of see here, where it's like it's a war. These are my soldiers. It's not family. This is just more.
Does that kind of tie into like the Zur-En-Arrh Batman, or?
Yeah, that Zur-En-Arrh Batman was originally in the comic books like an alien Batman from a different planet, but to kind of retcon it and make it a way like have it make a bit more sense, it's actually a separate psychological backup in the back of Batman's brain, which ends up getting activated after he triggers up. So. Jesus Christ. This also ties into another Batman story with the Tower of Babel, where he has
the Tower
all
of
the way
Babel,
of taking out the Justice League, but like what's the fail safe? Like the fail safe for Batman, if Batman goes rogue, he tells the Justice League that, they are. That's not the case. What he actually does is creates a robot that is like, if Batman ever kills anybody, that's a robot designed to take out Batman. The only thing that can stop Batman is Batman. So he can create a robotic Batman. It's a whole thing.
I mean, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
He could fend off anything coming at him. So
and like, the Justice League is going to stop him. He already knows how to take out the entire Justice League. He knows exactly who they are, what their weaknesses are, and everything like that. So the only one who could stop Batman is Batman. So he brings forth his Zur-En-Arrh persona because he's like, I can't. I'm thinking too much. I'm caring too much. Like I can't do this. I need to. So this darker soldier, like persona is one that comes out, and that's how he tries to stop it. Realizes
that's when he dives even deeper than the the stories where Bruce Wayne is dead and he can just be Batman.
Yeah.
It's like that's diving even deeper in the rabbit hole where he's Batman 100% of the time, but now he's caring too much and he needs to not care. And
well, it's also the balance between having like the Bat family actually being a family or just being his soldiers, and whether or not. That's something I feel like is kind of tied on early of this with Alfred tried calling, like bringing light to, is like, but with Jason and all that, it's like Jason was a good soldier, but it was like, which I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, but I think Batman needs to have a Bat family because being pure Batman, I think would become like pretty much becomes more of a villain.
Yeah, it would be separating him too much from his humanity. Like
people
he can't
exactly, which is the whole balance
if he
between
has a
him
bat,
and
if
Superman.
he has a Bat family, it's keeping him too grounded, keeping him alive as a person,
which is stuff like the Joker,
like the healthy shit you should be doing,
which is stuff like Joker calls him out for, like throughout all these decades, like they've made you weak, like you should be like, because Joker just wants just him and them, the two of them go until the end of this, and by having Robins and Alfred and shit like that, it forces him to like keep his humanity intact instead of getting completely lost in the symbol, which is what I like about this story a lot. It's because the symbolism is like still very much there, but as we'll see in the next part, this is all part of a overarching plan on his way of kind of continuing Batman, even though he can't himself continue to be Batman.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like more or less, the Joker knows Bruce Wayne is Batman, but he doesn't fucking care.
Yeah,
he doesn't care about Bruce Wayne. Like,
it's covered
he's
in a lot
boring
of stories
and dumb,
and dumb and stupid.
And he's like, he only cares about Batman.
It was like in the Harley Quinn animated series, like the first season where
they unmask
him. He's like, you think if I would have done that if I didn't want to? Now I just know that he's nothing but a little child with abandonment issues. And he's like, well, that's highly reductive. I ordered a smart car last year, Bruce. Where's my smart car?
I think also like the reason why Batman, like, he's my favorite superhero because everything like with like, how I love mental health and just deep diving into like psychology and what makes people tick. That's a lot of what Batman is about. Like,
oh yeah,
and it's just so much fun to like dive into either him or his villains, like past traumas and like why his villains are so crazy, for lack of a better term.
Well, that's like reasons why like Batman and Spider-Man are so popular, because they are humanizing these otherworldly, human beings themselves. Like, Spider-Man got bit by a spider's got all these abilities. Bruce Wayne is a billionaire that cares about the common man. These are things that don't actually exist.
Yeah. Do you see that post that was like, Bruce Wayne if his parents survived and he's just like this rich entitled brat.
Well, exactly. That's something it is like kind of actually also in Chip Zdarsky's run where there's like this alternate universe where like his parents lived and he's just this spoiled fucking rich asshole. So kind of even like needing the trauma as a way of grounding him and kind of pulling him back down to reality. That's something that's also covered on frequently because Batman and his rogues gallery, they're all like a character study on various forms of the human psyche and experiences we can all go through. Two-Face being like the duality we all have between our good side and our bad side. Joker just being like unhinged chaos. Batman being, forced order. Penguin just being, opulence and kind of just wanting to run your own little section, kind of just like respect in a certain way. You've got, Killer Croc. It's kind of like the monster in us all being misjudged and us being forced to be that monster based on what society says that we are. You've got
Scarecrow being
fear.
People, forced use of fear as a psychological tactic into
Mr. Freeze being like, how far would you go for those that you love?
Yeah.
Like where's the line drawn?
Batman is so well written and his villains are so well written. Like people ask, so why is Batman always getting rebooted or whatever? It's like it's
that's
because
why Batman doesn't get as rebooted as all the other ones. Like they hold on to the popular history. Is like Killing Joke is like still
like hard reboot.
Oh yeah, no hard. He hits soft reboots, but like
we got to start it over from the beginning again. We got to start over.
Even
however many times we do Batman, it will always be right.
Yeah, which is with every reboot that DC does, he stays intact for the most part. Like.
I'd say that it would always be right, minus Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. But
even then, those weren't entirely wrong. Those still have their place. I mean, now that I'm getting older, I think I could admit that they're straying away from the natural evolution of like Batman started off as this dark, brooding character. So they kind of go, Tim Burton-y, which even then, that's still kind of campy.
Yeah.
Like looking back, because like back in the day, you're like, oh my God, serious Batman. Now you're like, look at the size of that fucking gun.
Jack Nicholson it's still pretty silly.
Yeah. But I think it's a natural evolution towards that camp, also for his way of selling toys and shit like that. You kind of have to, because like with Batman Returns, you can't sell Penguin toys, Danny DeVito Penguin toys. You can sell like little action, like McFarlane action figures for like, fucking nerds like me. But you can't be like,
you can't sell them at McDonald's.
Yeah,
or
you're gonna have like a Danny DeVito Penguin Lego set. Come on now, no, you're fucking.
I mean,
not.
I would.
I mean,
because
I would.
I'm a psychopath.
And also, I'd take Christopher Walken as fucking Shrek, and that'd be fucking great. But you can't really do that. So it is like those movies are a natural progression to the more camp, more like making him more accessible because. If you go too full bore in the darkness,
can you imagine if they went from Adam West Batman to straight Christian Bale Batman?
I think everyone's neck
even
would
like
hurt.
Adam West Batman to fucking Robert Pattinson Batman.
Oh yeah, no, everyone's neck would hurt from the immediate, just like you need that in between with like Michael Keaton, who is like insane, also still kind of dark, and you have the whole Tim Burton aesthetic.
Yeah,
but he's still kind of campy.
Yeah, but I love them all.
Oh yeah.
Let's see, what else do we have in here? Dude, I love a lot of part one was Batman from like a second person perspective where it's all just people witnessing Batman being Batman, where it's like you catch a glimpse of him in the smoke or a glimpse of him cascading through the night sky
right as lightning
and
crashes.
then you see him looking at you and then flash and he's fucking gone.
Yeah,
I love that.
Oh, that's definitely a note I took. Two notes. One is shitty as Gotham City is, my God, is it awesome when it's lit up by lightning.
Yeah, that's the only time it looks good.
It's like, oh, what a beautiful city, as just this chaotic energy striking down from the heavens to briefly illuminate this garbage city. Ooh, cool. But then also, fuck, man, just... Damn it. I kind of lost my... Yeah, Batman works best in the shadows, which is what makes it so funny that he has a bat signal. Like, and the whole city knows about him, but when Batman does his best, personally for me, and I think when he's at his best, it's like also with like the... I know it's a very... Actually, not even a divisive game. The game sucked, but like when you have Batman in Justice League, or Suicide Squad kills the Justice League, when it's just like secondhand, like him sneaking through, like just pulling people out, him going full RoboCop, bursting through the walls, pulling you in.
It's only in the beginning of the game, but... Yeah, no, that whole sequence
that is what builds terror
so
for Batman. That's what instills fear in the hearts of criminals.
And it's the same thing as like horror movies, in my opinion, if you're taking it dead serious, like Jaws, like what you don't see of the monster makes it even scarier. Like it's this idea of what you think the monster
Or
is.
like to even go a bit more modern, Godzilla -1. That's There's
the
like 4 fucking scenes with actual Godzilla in the whole
movie's
goddamn movie.
so good.
So goddamn good. But it's because
So
like
good.
because you know Godzilla's there, and like you as like the viewer, you know about Godzilla, you're aware of what he's about, but like the people in the scenario do not, and so you get to feel their fear, and that's what they do awesome with this one is reminding you that Batman started off as like this, ninja, like fear,
and I love when they still don't like even. Most of the time, don't even refer to him as Batman. He's still this mythological.
Yeah.
What I think was a giant bat, or some
man dressed in a Dracula costume.
Exactly, and it's clear. Like in the time span of this universe, though, it's pretty clear it's Batman, but it's still like that they're not 100% sure that it was Batman.
Well, then even then, like after a decade of like that's 10 years. Like,
if you take a shot every time we say Batman, you will die.
Batman's going to need to fucking save you. But no, that is one thing that I do, because Batman being such a huge, amazing, big character makes sense. But what really just gets my jimmies going is when he's just pure in the shadows, mythological. Like he shouldn't be, even though he's cool and awesome on the Justice League and shit. I don't think he needs to be, nor he should be. Like he should be.
I don't even think he needs to be or should be.
No, he just needs to be a street level character, like pretty much just working in the shadows, taking shit out. That's just where it just builds so much. Like,
it's better if he's a myth and
Yeah.
something people talk about, and in the camp around the campfire.
Yeah,
in
which
the-
is
in the
a way
woods.
of creating a symbol behind it without completely losing your humanity into it, because that's when, like other stories where Batman tries to elevate as he gets older, like in Kingdom Come and stuff, he just becomes too big and tries to take over and do too much. Almost becomes more like, kind of turns Gotham into a Gestapo almost, where everyone's kind of just like underneath the watchful eye of Batman.
Which I kind of think that's a fun idea. That's a fun idea for a story.
That's a fun idea for a story to play out with, but like ultimately, I think I personally don't want that for Batman.
Nah. Let's finish our notes and get to
Right.
the
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So let's see. Batman's age. So I have it. We talked about it a little bit. He's 55 at this time.
Yeah.
And it shows a little bit with just a little bit how his stamina's down, especially like pumping up his chest in front of the mutant crew that tries to stab him, and they walk off. He still has to kind of breathe, like, oh god.
Yeah, like,
and then climbing up his zip
he's
line.
like, tries to climb. It's like, fuck.
And the guy's being like, oh, he never used to make noise, but again, it's bad. So he used it to his advantage and fucked him with him.
Well, even then, like as being so smart and realizing that's when you get to the climax with the mutant leader is like, well, it's like he says to Alfred, like, I was trying to match his ferocity and I can't do that. I've got to be smarter than him.
Yeah.
And that's how he ends up getting the Sons of Batman started, is by kicking his ass.
I've a point on that later too. So
go, yeah.
where you at in your notes?
Classic, just the classic Batman argument that he creates the problem more than he helps it.
Yeah.
That will never, I don't think that will ever be
Never
settled.
cease to exist.
Never cease to exist. That's always gonna be a thing. Do these? Well, it's also brought in with fucking Spider-Man, with J. Jonah Jameson calling him a menace and everything like that. Like, pretty much, if you elevate your retaliation to that, then they're also going to in kind elevate their retaliation, something like that. Or so is essentially good.
I can see both sides of the argument too. It's like, yeah, he's stopping all the criminals, but now the criminals are going to reach a new level to try and fight him and go to extreme measures.
Go to extreme measures, like especially because the challenge itself, like the gauntlet has now been thrown. It's like, because before you knew where the line was with the cops and the cops.
Yeah, the bar's been raised,
and now the bar's been raised, and it's kind of exciting to probably go for that, but also at the same time, and maybe it's something like the Lana Lane character has talked about, like some of these people are just already broken.
Yeah,
which is also what the psychiatrist says. It's like, well, yeah, then you have broken people seeing something like this and then taking inspiration from that. So it's not I don't think it's ever like an easily settled issue. I think also just it's not real.
It's also not real. I kind of wish it was, because it would be a better thing to fucking argue over than what we're arguing over right now.
It's like I'd rather argue over about the existence or non-existence of a man in a Dracula costume, which is something awesomely done in the absolute. Please read the Absolute Batman comics right now, because they have this awesome little part where he realizes he's going too hard on the theatrics. It's like the awesome couple of panels.
Ooh, also, speaking of man dressed in a Dracula costume, go see Nosferatu if you haven't seen it yet.
Fucking do it.
Fucking awesome movie, dude.
Hell yeah.
Fantastic. I love Robert Eggers.
Oh yeah, no, longtime listeners and fans know we love Eggers. We love any Skarsgårds. Love some Skarsgårds.
I rewatched the Northman before we went and saw Nosferatu. Just both are just so good. Like gotta have a Skarsgård.
Gotta have a
Gotta have a
Skarsgård.
Skarsgård.
Gotta have a Skarsgård.
What is it? Hamlet with Vikings. I'm
What
in.
more do you need?
And then no, it was just really fucking good. I don't want to talk more about it. Anyway, where am I at with this? Batman's training. Oh, I think that was just like keeping up with how he's able to he's able to run a tightrope and not even blink an eye.
I mean,
Like he's still just everything's still like kind of ingrained. Like even just dealing with armed goons on the rooftop. Like everything's still just beaten so hard into his brain that he doesn't
all muscle
even
memory.
bat an eye
Bat
doing any of
an
that
eye?
shit. Bat an eye.
fuck off.
But yeah, no, like everything's still
Yeah.
when he picks it back up again, his stamina isn't there because he's older, but he's still just
Oh yeah, the
still
muscle memory
him.
and everything's just so ingrained into him because we're talking about a man who pretty much just stopped existing as a person as soon as he hit, like once he was 8 years old and his parents died in front of him. This is all kind of this Batman is, which I think is very divisive because people like having a more human Batman. No, this is like that's why he comes out, after walking naked through the cave and yells at the bat, "You're never done with me."
Dude, I don't know. I kind of like my Batman more of like Bruce Wayne just is Batman and Bruce Wayne is the Mask. Like that's who Bruce Wayne is.
Yeah.
And then the whole like, oh, I'm a billionaire guy. That's the mask he puts on for but that's kind of basic Batman shit.
That's basically, well, it's also what Jim Gordon talks about early on. It's like, it's crazy to think that, all those times you were sipping ginger ale pretending it was champagne.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, now he's got actual fucking champagne.
Let's see. What else do I got? Oh yeah, his length of retirement. I don't know how long he was retired for. Did we
10
say
years.
10 years? Yeah.
10 years. So he
Okay.
pretty much retired at 45 after he starts.
Still quite an age.
Yeah, he starts. So pretty much he's been doing it for 20 years. So he comes back. So in Gotham Year One, he comes back at 25 after training all
So
this
the
time.
next Rocksteady game is this
Yes.
because
Where we just completely ignore,
yeah,
Justice League.
which
Suicide
I think
Squad
they're
kills
gonna
Justice
do,
League every week.
which they should.
Oh yeah, they've already talked about doing that. Like, they've already introduced all this like Elseworlds multiverse shit in Suicide Squad. So like, we'll just ignore that.
Yeah, and I think that's the move because I don't. It frustrates me because I didn't want that game to be like the continuation of the Rocksteady games, but I did want that game to be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
And there's speculation, there's rumors about the next Rocksteady game being like a Tim Drake Batman game, which fucking I'd be in if they did it right. And but that's kind of the thing. That's the response I kind of think because with Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League is like if you're gonna do a Tim Drake Batman, like you have to hit it out of the park or you're gonna fucking.
I've never been the biggest Tim Drake fan. Not that there's anything wrong with him. He's actually a really cool, like a
I
pretty
don't
cool
really
character.
have an opinion on him either way.
He, he's like more of a detective than Batman is, which is cool. Like when it comes to the certain aspects of the Robins he's had throughout the years.
I do like
Dick Grayson is
Fuck,
the.
I'm not thinking Tim Drake.
You're thinking Dick Grayson,
No,
Jason Todd,
no.
Carrie Kelly.
Fucking what's his name? Batman Beyond.
Oh, Terry McGinnis.
Yeah.
You went with Tim. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Sorry, they both start with T.
Okay.
They both start with T. All right.
Just feel the nerd rage.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm mad at myself too. No, I think let's read.
No. If they do a Batman Beyond, dude, Batman Beyond is the shit. Like when it comes to
Okay.
like old grizzled Batman, be like, especially continuation for Batman the animated series.
Okay.
So fucking cool.
And they do play a lot into the animated series. Rest in peace, Kevin Conroy. So I think that would be an interesting.
Oh, they really doing this one too, because I don't know if you noticed, there's a lot of familiar voices in these.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna
I
shout out.
caught Kevin Michael Richardson.
Oh, but did you catch D. Bradley Baker as Dawn, or what about Rob Paulson as Rob, or Tara
Robert
Strong?
Paulson. His name is Robert Paulson.
No,
His name is Robert Paulson.
his name is Robert Paulson.
His name is Robert Paulson.
As Rob, you've got Tara Strong. The second Harley Quinn.
Always. You can't miss Tara Strong.
She's the other anchor who wears the. I'm so glad they kept the shirt from the comic book stuff.
Yeah.
No, the other one that has a T-shirt like it says, all this and brains too.
Yeah.
That's Tara Strong. The person who's actually the one with the hair is Greg Griffin as well.
Oh, okay.
And then you got Marisa Lamont, who does the voice of Brain, all up in that shit. Coming up, we're gonna have Conan O'Brien making an appearance. Actually,
Fuck.
like we've got
Maurice LaMarche, I think, is my brother's favorite voice actor of
he
all
is
time.
so goddamn good, man. I love that man so much. He's just, but yeah, we pretty much also Bruce Timm, one of the creators of Batman the Animated Series, does the voice of Thomas Wayne in this first part.
Hey.
Yeah, so it's all still incredibly connected because this is like the classic like DC animated universe before they did their own fucking like retcons and shit. I think we're like on the second or third one right now.
Dude, okay, so did you finish Crisis on Infinite Earths?
I did not finish it. No, I got through the second one. I still need the third.
Okay, yeah, I watched the third one. It was fun how they wrapped it up.
Mm-hmm.
I still kind of hope they keep Jensen Ackles as Batman though.
Oh, I want him in like the fucking live action, man.
Yeah,
like, fucking give me. He's dope.
He's really good. But it was fun how they wrapped everything up.
Speaking of wrapping up, remember how we said we were going to do that about 10 minutes ago?
we were going to do that. Okay, so
I just need to shout out those fucking classic WB voice
the
actors.
Batcave staples like the T-Rex and the
Yes,
penny.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Always have to have those.
That
It's
giant
not a Batcave
fucking
if you
penny.
don't.
Yeah, no, that's got to have that giant fucking penny.
Oh yeah, and I was laughing about Gordon's age because as soon as he started talking about Roosevelt and Pearl Harbor, I was like, okay, so how old is Gordon? He would be 109 today.
Yeah, if they were sticking with this, that's why you have to have retcons and like universal revamps and shit.
And then Batman as a tactician, like he's unmatched.
Oh yeah, no, especially like in his older age now, he's had time to like think of everything and time to
because you have
process.
to. If you're not fast enough or strong enough, like you have to find a way to beat your opponent.
You're feeling slow, old man. We're all slow when we're thigh deep in mud.
And he uses everything to his advantage. A slight cut above the eye to get the blood.
Fucking love
that. So he
that.
can't move. He can't see. And then it's like this mud pit is my operating table.
And then he just starts. Oh, dude,
starts snapping his limbs.
The combat scenes in this one are just so much goddamn fun. Because it's like classic early Batman, and then with part 2 we get the elevated like current status quo Batman with like we're like dealing with other heroes and shit like that. Which it is kind of cool to see like it all being a shared universe is cool. But sometimes I think I just need me like a solo Batman, like just existing by himself.
Yeah, for sure. And hopefully we get Matt Reeves' The Batman Part 2 in 2045.
I mean, it's going to be great. Come 2050.
1960, 10,000.
I mean, if you're going to make me wait for that, at least give me fucking Jensen Ackles as in the main DCEU or whatever
get him
it is.
get him in James Gunn's
Yeah, I can see him in a
Circle Jerk. I don't know.
What's the current Superman's name? Chris Cornswept or Cornsweet?
I don't
Chris
know.
Cornell?
Chris Cornell.
Chris Parnell? That's right. Chris Parnell as Superman.
Wonder Woman. Why you gotta do it that way?
Although
I can't do a Cyril.
I can't. But the Superman movie coming out does look pretty fun. And
what really it makes me happy and pisses me off at the same time is that they got Nathan Fillion to be a Green Lantern,
but it's Guy fucking Gardner. Man, I'm gonna take my victories where I can get them.
I'm happy. And I know he's going to crush it, but I'm also really pissed off that he's not Hal Jordan.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we got a lot of him like actually voicing Hal Jordan in animated movies, which is just, he would have been perfect. He was awesome. I think he could still pull it off now.
That was the thing. It's like James Gunn taking over the DC. It was oh, cool.
Nathan Fillion is going to be Hal Jordan. Here we go.
No, Guy Gardner.
Which I kind of wish they would have done because, like, even with Nathan Fillion, like, the argument could be because Nathan Fillion's older, but then you can easily just do, like, the fucking Parallax
they have
saga.
fucking Kyle...
Rayner.
No, Rittenhouse. Kyle. The dad coach from Friday Night Lights, I think. I don't know, but he's great. He's also been in the MonsterVerse with Godzilla. So I think him as Hal Jordan, it'll be fine. But
Nathan Fillion, he's got that confidence. He's got that swagger. He could have easily played older Hal Jordan, giving us the fucking Parallax Saga, which then could have gave us Kyle Rayner. There you go. You have your young Green Lantern to then just continue everything else.
That's the thing, is like it's an older Hal Jordan anyway. Like you got Jon Stewart, you got Guy Gardner. Like,
and also like everyone's like pretty much already established. Like Superman's already established by this point. You're finally getting Crypto, which fuck. All
right, I'm in for that. Yeah, I'm in for Crypto.
As long as they don't John Wick Crypto, we'll be fine.
Yeah. All right, we gotta stop
Shit,
this.
We gotta stop this.
We gotta stop this. All right, we're gonna go watch part 2. We'll come back and continue this nonsense.
Comic books.
But I didn't have to go easy on you. A different binding agent, a stronger mix. I want you to remember that. I wanted to remind you to stay out of my way. In all the years to come, in your most private moments, I want you to remember the one man who beat you.
For posterity's sake.
I just wanted to be a shit.
Oh man, so good. Like the part 2 was so good. Like I only have 3 notes. I just couldn't take notes. Like
Yeah, so how many notes do I have? My God. I actually got a fair amount of notes.
All right.
God damn. All right. Look at me.
Let's go with your
All
talking points.
So, talking points. The first thing that I pointed out was the fact that it has Sarah Essen as his wife, which ties into year 1 when our boy Jim Gordon is incredibly flawed.
Okay, I was gonna ask, like, who the fuck are you talking about right
So
now?
Sarah Essen is, in this movie, Jim Gordon's wife.
Okay.
But she originally was a lieutenant who transferred over to Chicago during Gordon's first year. And he ends up cheating on his wife, Barbara, with her.
They really thought hard about naming their children.
Yes, you have Barbara and Jim Jr.
Barbara, and Jim.
Yeah, which actually
Jim and Jim.
When Sarah hands him the like shopping list and all that, the pictures in the back, it shows Barbara, Jim, and Barbara Senior, I guess, Jim and Jim Jr. She's crossing over, kind of. Yeah, it's so as a way it does connect to the whole year 1 aspect, which is really fun, and also just reminds you that Jim Gordon is kind of a fuck.
Everybody's flawed, and I think that makes more compelling characters. Again, my anti-Superman shtick of like he doesn't have any character flaws. Like he's the golden boy, the Boy Scout.
Incredibly
handsome.
handsome.
Like no, like people are flawed, and that's what makes them interesting.
Exactly, because even though like Jim Gordon, cheats on his wife and smokes and drinks and all this shit, his main goal is to keep the people of Gotham and his family safe. At the end of the day, he wants to be a good cop, even though he is still
in Gotham.
Human. In Gotham, of all fucking places.
Yeah.
But that was just something that's like I really enjoyed just having read, especially reading year 1. I've probably read it like at least 10 times.
I've fallen asleep listening to it at least 10 times.
So goddamn good, dude. It is.
I need to have it on while I'm doing something.
Oh yeah, it is just
like
well
midday.
done.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, midday. I highly suggest like anybody like go to like any comic historian. He does a great job of narrating year 1, Comic Explained. Like you can find stuff
that's
on
the one
YouTube.
I go through. Like, but I always fall asleep when Bruce is meeting Alfred. Like that's like 10 minutes in. So where did we land on this?
Swastikans. That's my next note.
Swastikans.
Swastikans.
Yeah, there's a character
with Bruno, the transgendered Nazi criminal enterprise leader,
criminal mastermind.
Briefly,
yeah, they have some big old titties, but they have swastika pasties on them.
I don't know if it's pasties or just like scarring or
tattoos. Or you don't see any nipple. You just see the swastikas.
Just 2 swastikas.
2 bright red swastikas on this Aryan,
very pale
progeny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hitler would have been proud.
Yeah.
Yeah, swastikans. I've been still trying to think of anything better than swastikans.
Yeah, it's hard. Those of you who can think of a better one, put it in the comments. We're just gonna flood it. Swastika, swastika titties, swastika.
Yes, let's take all. Yeah, please flood the comments
Flood
with
the
Nazi
comments
puns,
with,
especially given everything going on currently. Please, let's just have that going on.
Very timely.
Well, that's something I also did notice and noted that not much has changed,
No.
which is upsetting.
Yeah.
And a lot of Frank Miller's original angst and anger regarding, Ronald Reagan and the Cold War and Soviet Russia.
The dominant whatever party in the cabinet right now and what's going on.
Oh yeah,
it's not. I don't dive into
no,
politics.
no, I don't want to
like
dive into this at all because this is a comic book.
One,
movie.
because I'm a fucking idiot, and two,
that's the main reason why
I don't want to alienate our audience.
No, but we do have Ronald Reagan as the president in this, and we have a person running around with swastikas covering up their nips.
Holy shit! Put that on my bingo card. If I see that this year, I have no I don't know, but I kind of would vote that would be a thing that would happen this year, or in the next couple of years.
I mean, we'll find out.
So okay, I'm gonna get in my notes because I only have a couple.
Most of my notes are for the first half of this second half, which is the Joker bits.
Yes,
because that's honestly. It could have ended with the whole Joker thing. The Superman stuff is dope. Don't get me wrong,
yeah, the
but
Superman
also
fight. I honestly think it should end with the Superman fight.
Yeah, but you could easily get away with just saying and then he's now wanted for the murder of Joker. Or anyway, we'll get into that.
I love the whole. And my next guest star is the Joker, or the Clown Prince of Crime himself, the Joker. Is
I mean, what can be said about this guy?
In context of what Joker has done to this point in the story, it's it would be the equivalent of being and my next guest star, the leader of the family himself, Charles Manson. And I was no.
I mean, yes.
Why do you think this is a good idea?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, with the Joker movie coming out, which they directly takes inspiration directly from this, to where even to a lesser extent, where Arthur Fleck in the Joker is accused and admits to killing those three men on the subway, they still bring him on because what they specify, what they mentioned earlier, is this is going to be one of their highest rated shows. How do you not?
Yeah, you can't fuck with ratings.
You can't fuck with the ratings, man. People are going to tune into that shit. Doesn't matter that this guy has killed over 600 people.
I mean, people will be tuning in. There's no question, but. Also, you're asking to get your host killed and your entire audience killed when you're inviting this person onto the set.
I'd say the only thing worse than that is the fact that Andy Richter as a sidekick is not credited in this movie.
No, they should have.
Should have credited Andy Richter. Come on now, you got Conan O'Brien.
But yeah, it's so dumb. It's asking for trouble, and it again is giving a platform to these I guess in context these psychopaths. To give them a voice,
even though you know what they are.
Yeah, you know what they are. The
decades of history.
Yeah, you're also giving them validation by bringing them onto your show.
Yeah, which is it's incredibly frustrating. But I am not the least surprised that this was written back in the '80s, and it's something I could still see happening today.
Yeah, in a weird offshoot, I watched all of Mindhunter. Watched all of Mindhunter. In the past couple weeks, and God, that's such a good show. I wish it didn't get canceled.
Well, that's also another thing is we've got a weird obsession with serial killers and the more dark, true crime podcasts and shit like that. We've got a fascination with it.
A big fascination in America over serial killers.
I mean, probably kind of just leads to the fact we are still afraid of those scary things that are in the dark, but also that's what makes it so compelling as you evolve. As a creature, is just oh, this is scary, but why is it scary? It's why we like horror and stuff like that.
Yeah, and yeah, I'm a big advocate for that, and it's real life horror.
Yeah,
which that shit scares me.
That shit scares me more.
I'm huge. Yeah, I love my monster movies. I love my big dumb oh, this could never happen horror movies.
Yeah.
But the shit that gets me is that real life this could fucking happen.
Oh yeah. Real monsters, real evil actually does exist in this world.
And yeah, I don't go out of my way to watch any serial killer documentaries and stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like a little bit of that shit, but more with a glass lens. But yeah, it's so weird because I don't think about it in the moment I think about it afterwards, but in the moment, I'm like so fucking anxious, and I'm wondering like, why am I so fucking? I'm watching a show about like fucking Ted Bundy or something.
Yeah.
I was like,
You
why
should
am
be
I?
anxious.
Why am I so uncomfortable?
I mean, honestly, that's a great way of like telling what kind of people you're around. It's like, sorry, how did this make you feel? I'm like, yeah, it was fascinating, but how did you feel? It's like, oh, I was uncomfortable. Good.
Good.
You should be.
Should be.
You fucking should be. Which makes no sense. Like, the fucking Joker gets introduced on this show and everyone just starts clapping like it's been 10 years.
Yeah, we're like, woo! Do the whistle, woo! Let's go, Joker! Like, let's play your greatest hits.
Do the
Fucking-
Joker toxin.
Give me some. Oh, dude, Joker toxin. Let's go.
Joker toxin's so hardcore. Can you imagine laughing to the point where you die?
You fucking cry because you can't
Stop laughing because you're in so much pain, but how it's manifested is laughter. Which was my next note, is that is so fucking hardcore.
It's brutal.
That was brutal. Like, you die with a smile on your face because you are like, yeah, like suffocating and dying while smiling the entire time.
Oh, Joker toxin's no joke.
Holy shit. Some dark ass shit, dude. It's, oh.
Dude, Galaxy gas, but have a flavor that's called Joker toxin.
Dude. You should get too far.
God. Fucking Galaxy gas. Are you fucking kidding me?
Jesus. I mean, I got plenty more notes. My next note is kind of just another, ignore all the swastika and Nazi puns. Our next real question is, if you are a different country and you know that like one of the superpowers has the Man of Steel on your payroll, do you start anything with that country?
It's hard to, yeah, that's tough because there would have to be a middle ground where they're already fighting and then Superman gets introduced.
Well, which is kind of how it is done. Like Ronald Reagan says, like, oh, we got, it's all in the hands of God, or the next best thing. He never comes out and admits that Superman is working for him, but like everyone knows, that Superman is
the rivalry or like the quote unquote war ish would have had to have happened or had to have started before they knew Superman was a thing, because if Superman was a thing, I don't imagine anybody fucking with him.
Yeah. Well, it's like the same thing with like in The Watchmen, where it's like, I'm gonna say like
you have Dr. Manhattan.
he's like, I said God is an American, like the whole kind of like when you're going up against that, like I mean, then again, just the stubbornness and the hubris that is humanity. It's like, you've got a Superman, but like we've got this nuke which might fuck him up until he absorbs all the excess sunlight from all the grass around him to try to recover.
Oh, the sunflowers.
Yeah, the sunflower. He just happened to knock right into a whole bunch of literal sun flowers.
Yeah.
You guys get it? Because he's powered by the sun?
Yeah.
Did you miss that while you were watching this?
Sunflowers can also hold UV rays and give it to other sunflowers.
And then he can just drain all of it out. Like, okay. Right. Then my next
That's
note.
why I'm Bizarro Superman.
Yeah, that's why I lost everything, and I just gotta.
If I touch them, I will have the exact opposite effect on me.
Exactly. Then I love the tit punch as a distraction. Love that.
Yep.
When it's just Batman, just like, oh crap, Selena Kyle, no. Oh crap, the cops are here. Punch in the tit. Ah, smoke bomb. Ow.
You gotta have the classic tit punch.
I mean, it distract me.
I guess not leaving the Superman topic, I have Red Sun Superman. But it's more or less the same story with Superman, just from opposite angles. Like, he's just a tool used by the government to, go act out their policies. And
until Superman Red Sun, where he eventually ends up just taking over.
Yeah.
But still using the same ideals and tactics methods that were pretty much instilled on him by the country that he was raised in, which, I kind of feel like it's hard not to get too political when talking about the Dark Knight Returns when it comes to Superman's role in general.
Yeah.
It feels like he's more of a commentary, if I may, on just like, an absolute power being held by one country and kind of the corruption that can come behind that. Because at one point, Ronald Reagan's like, yeah, no, things are going to go bad. Apparently, I don't know what happened. So, deuces. And then only to like find out, it's like, oh crap, no, actually Superman did save the day, but now everything's just covered in nuclear winter for a while.
Yeah.
But I think that is like because Frank Miller is a libertarian. He has a lot of people think he has a lot of conservative views, but he's libertarian. I don't know all the differences, but he has confirmed that he's libertarian. But still, it's a commentary on just one power having all this power, and just how cavalier a country can get with that.
Yeah.
Which I believe is what we get. And I don't want to get too political with this, but I kind of think what the Superman metaphor is supposed to be in this. I mean, maybe that's why Batman, it's kind of Batman like...
Batman's way more power to the people.
Yeah. To an extent.
Yeah.
To an extent. He's still kind of like, he does get accused of like starting a Gestapo at some point. But this is also like, this is also just makes it more complicated, makes you want to talk about it, is because it's like blackout throughout the entire city, all right? Inmates have escaped. You know, riots are happening because people lose their fucking minds. We all know this. Like,
yeah,
a lot of us have lived through currently like people just losing their minds and go like, as soon as anything starts happening, chaos starts happening, just fuck it. All rules are out the door. So then Batman, being, you know, the embodiment of order, does come in and is like, I'm sure you guys want to help. And then and then Superman being like,
having that actual voice of reason, being like, hey, stop fucking around, come on.
But he still does say, like, if you do not, though, I will leave you tied up. Like, it's gonna either you help or you're just not doing anything. So, and then the one, I'm gonna sue you. Man, Americans and their love for fucking suing.
I think the last thing I have in my notes is they did Selena so dirty in this movie.
Yes, they did. Especially since, the funny thing is that year one comes out after this, if I recall correctly, when it comes to the comic chronology. So she's a lot more badass in year one, and then they kind of just have her fall back to being like running an escort service, which doesn't make any sense for somebody who's had to work that service and try to protect those underneath her as a way of like making money and surviving in the slums of Gotham. So her having like a high-end escort service, and like, but... That's I think it's before really the character of Catwoman that starts to actually get like more involved, especially with her relationship with Batman, because it's always been like semi kind of alluded and fun, like during the Golden Age and the Silver Age. That's how you end up getting Huntress. You have Helena Wayne, who's their daughter. Like they kind of like, but it took like more recent, like with like Tom King's run and a lot of like her solo series and like kind of branching out of what more of a complicated character this is. So I can see it back in '86. Just throw it's like, make her run an escort service or some shit like that.
Yeah, make her run an escort service, gain a ton of weight, and
and that's how she's going to end up. Like how they're going to be able to infiltrate stuff is because all these politicians are buying from high-end escorts and stuff like that. So she runs a high-end escort service. So she's not a pimp. She's still taking care of everybody, but she's still selling sex, which is honestly, I can't like after like all like the now decade she's had of character development, I can't see that being a thing like she'd fall into.
Yeah,
no, like. Yeah, and they do her dirty. She's definitely just a plot device.
Yeah.
Which does fucking suck. But it does get kind of shit going. But also it kind of leaves more questions than answers when it comes to Bruce's relationship with Selena. That like,
I mean, they're still like clearly like fond of each other. They even share a kiss.
Yeah. It probably still falls back to the whole, you know, Bruce Wayne can't be happy and be Batman. So if he can't be Batman, then he's just not going to be happy because he's happy being Batman, and therefore he can't be with him. And that's why he's alone. Oh, never mind. I guess I just justified all of it. So she still shouldn't be running a high-end escort service. Like especially under her name. Like she's a fucking career criminal who I believe has been like incarcerated at Arkham, which Arkham's completely changed. It's no longer Arkham Asylum. It's now the Arkham Home for like the misunderstood or some shit like that.
The Arkham's Home for misunderstood misfits.
Yeah, it's the island of misfit toys instead of, you know, for the criminally insane.
Yeah. Anyway.
I mean, other than that, then we got a few more things like talking back earlier with the whole soldier thing when he holds Carrie, who gets terrified because she almost falls out of a plane. He's like, no, good soldier. Good soldier, which is kind of just...
He's still human and he cares.
Yeah, still, but also he's still focused on the war itself. So he's not like, you know, it's like, hey, it's okay, you're good. It's okay, you're good. It's like, no, it's like, you're being a good soldier. You're being a good soldier, getting it done, which is his whole end thing with the Sons of Batman. Yeah. It's pretty much, just having his own little army, which is, I mean, kind of a little hypocritical because Superman's a one-man army and Bruce Wayne's like, no, I'm just going to have thousands of ex-cons that I've now rehabilitated. Finally, after talking about it for decades, look at all these cons I've now rehabilitated to be criminal vigilantes.
As long as they're enacting his word, it's
As
fine.
long as it's his word, it's fine. The sons of Batman are fine. Mutants are bad. Sons of Batman are fine.
Yeah.
Next note: Carrie Kelly, murderer at the age of 13, with the homie that makes little robots, gets his little neck thing like, and just has his head torn right the fuck
You
off.
gotta have something to change you.
Yeah, I would stop being a fucking crime fighter after that point. I think it's like, oh, I just saw that man like just completely. It's his head torn clean off. Something's broke. Like he's like goes over. Like, or I guess you just double down on the trauma.
God, I'm really good at this.
Wow, this can't get worse than this. Could only be uphill. Let's fucking go. Oh my God, so many Joker notes. Jesus, like how it's the coup. This is the coup de grace, the final show for the Joker, which he knows right away. Which is why he's not actively trying to shoot Batman, which you can see with his like taking weird turns and weird angles, like because it's the last game for him. Because he's like, I think I can finally push him to this point as an old man. And
just anybody in his wake, he's just fucking blasted.
yeah. All to add to the murder count, like which he says is like, I don't even know how many people you've let me kill. And he's like, I know. He's like, and I love you for it. Which is it's just so awesome. Which is why I feel like it could have ended with just a Joker relationship because it does a great job of capitalizing on their insane dynamic of how both of them kind of need each other in a way. Like pretty much Joker is the line that Batman can never cross.
You won't kill me because of some misguided sense of self-righteousness, and I won't kill you because you're too much
fun. Yeah, which it does. I feel like it does a really great job before we even get the Dark Knight with Heath Ledger. That's the thing. It's another reason why this comic book stands so well is because it solidifies a lot of things which we now just know. Like Joker can't live without Batman. Joker's the antithesis to Batman.
Oh yeah, just I fucking love that. Like we reiterated, or I'll reiterate it from the part one.
Yeah,
just I love that he's just catatonic without Batman
until Batman finally steps out, which even Batman himself was catatonic.
He has no other reason to live other than torturing Batman.
And Batman had no reason to live except for looking for a good death until he fakes his death. And then he's like, this will be a good enough life.
One.
Yeah, it's a good one. Good one. Gotta help paint Superman as a murderer, which, I mean, yes, I think that's definitely why all this stands.
Yeah, it was like Superman and the government that controls him.
Controls him with the same government that's
I think us as an audience know it, but I don't know necessarily if the people know it.
No, there's definitely be some people like within that universe that would not know it. And then like a lot of the shortcomings of the government come to light when Superman does save the day to an extent and stops the nuke from blowing out Corto Maltese and spreading out all the fallout, and the government being caught with like, it's like, oh shit. So it's like now people are starting to kind of second guess what's going on with this government. And then it all being capitalized with a man who helped the people rise up during a time of need, and then being murdered by the golden boy of the current administration.
The people that were there know.
The people who are there that know what happened, which is you had to be there, man. You had to
be there. I saw Charlie in the trees back in a decade that doesn't exist.
And then I just had a few random questions. First of all, how deep do you think the water is in a tunnel of love? Because I always felt
questionable at best.
I always felt like they were like on a track with like a little bit of water.
Yeah, the water's for show, dude.
You know, and like he's able to like dive all the way down and avoid an explosion. How deep is this fucking water,
dude?
Like you're able to stand and have a fight. It's like, oh, explosion, dive deep down.
The water is for show, homie.
I mean, I haven't been in many tunnels of love because I plan on dying alone, but I feel like it's all just like
I don't. And I haven't been in a long time.
Also, it's not a fucking thing. Like you're just gonna sit there and try not to make out as you're like. It's got to be on a conveyor belt or some shit, not free flowing like a lazy river. Which even then isn't that fucking deep. You can barely float in those.
That's a good bit. It's like a couple on a tunnel of love, and one dude's just criticizing the entire track. He's like, "Nah, this wouldn't be real, bro. There's not enough water.
Nah,
and even if you got enough water, it would come up the tracks."
And also, like, why is love a tunnel? Like, it's just so narrow-minded and narrow-focused. Like, why are we making that kind of metaphor here, man? I'm trying to expand my horizons, be open with this person, and then you're like, no, it's just a tunnel.
Dude running motors like, I'm 16 and I'm still high for my day shift, dude. Come on.
Man, I don't care. I'm just waiting for TikTok to come back, and you just gotta keep on going. Also, the people during the riots wielding fire extinguishers as weapons. What you gonna do with that?
Beat the fuck out of
with a
somebody with
fire extinguisher.
Oh yeah,
they have axes, and crowbars and
give
guns,
it-
and you're like,
I mean, if you get your hands on whatever, like if a fire extinguisher is the only thing, like you can beat the fuck out
I
of
mean, you're
somebody
gonna have
with
to,
a
it's going to
fire
be
extinguisher.
unwieldy. You can do what you can, but also like just like what, you spray at them, and you're just going to try to hit them with the blunt end. You can't wheel it around because that's just going to pop off from the nozzle.
No, you get a good grip on the handle and fucking swing it around. I feel like you could fuck somebody up with
I
it.
feel like somebody, not some bun, like multiple people. Like you can fuck one person up, but then after that, you're now down a weapon.
That's fair.
I mean, luckily, then you have to pick up one of theirs. And all these motherfuckers have axes. What if they fucking hit that?
Well, no, you spray multiple people with it to get them all discombobulated, and then you start beating the fuck out
You
of
the
them.
fuck out of them with a fire extinguisher, which
you
is
gotta,
let you
you
know.
gotta be a tactician like Batman.
I mean, some motherfuckers just grab like boards and axes and things that make more sense than like, oh no, I'm gonna take these assholes out.
Something you can knock
blunt
off
instrument.
the cap of a or a fire hydrant off like one swing.
Yeah, just use
Done.
that. Like, throw that cap from the fire hydrant at fucking motherfuckers. He's like, nah.
Somebody had to have loosened that shit.
Yeah.
Like right to the edge. He's like, all right, I guess I'll try it. Whoa. I'm either strong or fuck or lucky as hell.
Ah, man, the infrastructure in Gotham is crooked.
Yeah.
Get to the wear and tear on this.
Yeah, that kind of tracks though.
I mean, yeah, but just I feel like you're a sadistic fuck if your go-to weapon is a fire extinguisher when you are right next to a hardware store. Get a wrench.
Maybe they were just trying to see, like, can I fuck somebody up with this?
I mean,
I
okay.
just want to see if I can fuck somebody
Power's
up.
out, shit's going down. Like, you know what? I'm curious.
Or it's just the first weapon you saw, or the only thing you're like.
First
all
thought,
right,
best
well,
thought.
I guess I guess this is it.
I will defend myself with this. It's gotta get a good grip.
If it's a decent sized fire extinguisher, like big ass
Yeah.
heavy ones, like yeah.
But also, multiple people had those, and there's not that many big ass fire extinguishers like fucking available.
That's
I'm
fair.
calling bullshit on that. I've been in a variety
How much
of places.
time have we spent arguing about using a fire extinguisher?
Because
as a weapon?
motherfuckers, come at me. Let me know if I'm fucking right or wrong. I fucking want to know because no.
That's a good pull.
I would rather use a fucking plank. You're gonna get a lot more damage done than once the one bit breaks off. And you can fucking stab 'em. Maybe I put too much thought into how I would harass people during a.
I don't know. If I had a full fire extinguisher and there is a decent group of people that I'm trying to get past, I feel like I could defend it. Just fucking get the fuck.
I mean, also doing the actual spraying.
you gotta utilize your spray
Yeah, the spray.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like would shake things up.
and
So that's more of a passive.
and you don't get a recharge, so you got to use your spray sparingly.
Yeah.
This is classic survival horror game at its best.
Come on, guys. All right, you got me there. That's a good point. That's a solid point.
Don't
Wait.
use too much of it.
Oh, yeah.
Aim for the eyes because you want. All right, let's move on.
Okay.
Next.
Honestly, that's where a lot of my notes started ending because then I just started watching that Superman fight. The Superman fight
same.
is dope. I love how they incorporated like future characters, like with Green Arrow coming in with his arm, like lasered off, which you get a nice little payoff. It's like, oh, I remember Ollie being real torn up about that. And he's like, that's
Yeah.
not how I wanted that to end.
It's fun foreshadowing with that.
But also, it's just like, you're Superman. He has a bow and arrow. Come on, dude. You're
Yeah,
gonna
he's a dude with
you're
a bow
gonna
and arrow.
laser off his arm.
I mean, yeah, he's a great fighter, but like, come on, man.
Yeah, like what's
The matchup is like,
yeah, and I just love like we mentioned earlier off mic with the Injustice series, just like because also that is just Green Arrow's character. Like he may be a billionaire, but he's like one of those like staunchly like liberal, left leaning billionaires. Is like no, like I march against nukes and stuff like that. Because there's like a point like in the Justice Unlimited series where he meets Captain Atom, who's like just a pure nuclear reactor. And he's like, I'm pretty sure you're somebody I marched against when I was in college. So he's one of those weird, rare fucking billionaires who's very like anti-authoritarian, all this shit. So it makes sense for like why he would be taken out like that by Superman, who is pretty much just this cog of the whatever the fucking machine is supposed to be there. And that's always been Ollie, which is really cool, which is why I think like Green Arrow is a cool character, is because yeah, he's very like, even though he's got all this privilege, he's just very much like against it to the point where Batman's got like super weapons and shit. I cannot understate this enough. Green Arrow just has a bow and arrow. One of those bows has a boxing glove on top of it.
I'd still pound for pound, I'd still take him over Hawkeye.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no. Fucking Green Arrow's got charm too.
Yeah.
Plus Hawkeye can't like keep a consistent partner. Green Arrow's pulling Black Canary.
He can't keep a consistent character over a movie series.
Yeah, no, he becomes Ronin and all that. Whereas Green Arrow is Green Arrow, and he's pulling Black Canary, who's like one of the best fighters, hand-to-hand fighters in the DC universe, trained by Wildcat, able to
got
keep
some
up with
charm.
fucking. I mean, yeah, dude, he's got that smile, he's got that riz, he's got that skibbity riz.
Don't you dare say that shit on my podcast.
Well, actually, I will because it ties into an earlier note, which we were making fun of all the slang they use there, and slang is stupid no matter what decade it comes out.
Fucking.
They're saying like, slag and shiv, scav, slice or dice. It's just as dumb as saying like tight, or it's like, oh man, that's so bad, and bad means good, or oh, that's dope, or saying skibbity or slang
No,
has always been
slang
fucking
is always
stupid.
dumb.
It's always been stupid. Saying groovy. What the fuck does that even mean?
It means that you're Bruce Campbell.
Oh, groovy. Still dumb. Slang is dumb. It's always dumb.
Only if you're not Bruce Campbell.
I mean, only
if you are Bruce Campbell, then it's awesome.
Well, he's able to pull it off because he's got that skibbity riz to pull off saying groovy.
He doesn't shiv.
You know shiv.
Nah.
You know scav.